Hey everybody, welcome back to Eating with Evans. This week I was lucky enough to get some freshly picked apples from my Aunt Judy. To me, every fall, the favorite thing for me to make when I get some freshly picked apples is some nice apple crisp. To make this apple crisp, you're going to need 2 pounds of apples. These are Cortlands. I think these are going to be great for my apple crisp. You'll need 1 cup of Old Fashioned Oats. You'll need half a cup of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 1 stick of unsalted butter. I like this Kate's butter from Arundel, Maine. 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, and 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. The first thing that we're going to want to make this apple crisp is the crumble that we're going to put on top. To start out, I'm going to put in 1 cup of Old Fashioned Oats. Now we're going to do half a cup of brown sugar. Now when it's brown sugar, you want to make sure that it's packed in your measuring cup. And now to this we're going to add a half a cup of flour. And now I'm just going to use my hand to mix this up to combine it all. I want to make sure that the flour and the sugar are evenly distributed throughout the oats. You want to make sure you break up any clumps that the brown sugar make. We're going to set this aside for a minute. Now we're going to deal with our butter. We're going to end up incorporating this butter into the crumb mixture. So what we want to do is cut this butter into little cubes so when we add it into the bowl with the rest of the topping, we can evenly distribute it by moving it around with our fingers. Now I'm going to add my butter into my mixture, and I'm going to mix this up with my hands. What you're really trying to do is break up the butter and incorporate it in with the sugar, the flour, and the oats. Now that this crumb topping is mixed, we're ready to start preparing our apples. At this point now I want to juice my lemon. As soon as we're done slicing and peeling all the apples, we're going to want to put the lemon juice directly on so that the apples don't oxidize as quickly. So I'm just going to halve this. And now I'm going to use my citrus reamer to get all the juice out. And here's my 2 pounds of apples. The next thing we need to do is peel, slice, and core these apples. Now I'm lucky enough that I have a KitchenAid mixer and I have an attachment that actually peels, cores, and slices all the apples for me. Just like that, with a little movie magic, we have peeled, cored, and sliced apples. At this point, I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon or 2 of my lemon juice. I'm going to toss that around. And what that's going to do is help to stop these apples from oxidizing and turning brown. Now to these apples, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to stir that around. Now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, just 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove. This is really strong, so don't do too much. And I've got a fresh nutmeg nut here, and I'm going to grind about 1/4 teaspoon into this mixture. When using nutmeg, it's always super important to get the whole nut and to grate it yourself on a microplane. Now that the spices are added, I'm going to stir this around. Now these apples are ready to transfer into my dish. I've got a glass pie plate here that I'm going to transfer my apples into, but before I do that, I'm going to spray it with some Pam. A little Nonstick Spray just to make sure that the apples don't burn on the glass. Now we can add our apples. And now we've got our crumb topping that's ready to be added on top of our apples. Now because we added butter directly into the crumble, we're not going to have to add any butter on top. It's going to melt and it's going to brown up and crisp deliciously. And now this goes into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 55 minutes to an hour until the top gets golden brown and the apples are cooked through. And here's the apple crisp after it's come out of a 350-degree oven for about 1 hour. I'm gonna let this cool and rest for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna serve this with some vanilla ice cream. And now that I've got my apple crisp portioned out on a plate, the only thing left to do is top it with some vanilla ice cream. I have this light ice cream from Night Food that I absolutely love, that's fairly low calorie. And this is the final dish. This is a delicious apple crisp that was made with freshly picked apples, topped with a crunchy oatmeal topping, and finished off with some delicious vanilla ice cream. Hey everybody, nothing tells me fall is here like having some delicious and crispy apple crisp. If you enjoyed that recipe as much as I do, be sure to hit the like button down below. While you're down there, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by clicking on the bell icon. This way, every single time one of my videos goes live, you'll get a push notification to your phone. If you haven't already, check out my Instagram page here at Eating with Evans. This is where I post all the meals that I make throughout the week that you wouldn't necessarily see here on YouTube. Until next time.